Welcome back to FM Jeeping. My name is Mark. Today we are going to be fixing a issue that I created probably about 2 weeks ago. I destroyed my rear bumper and hatch. The hatch is taken care of. Now we got to do a rear bumper. So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a very bad accident happen when we were out wheeling. If you want more details on that, go over to FM Jeeping on Facebook and check out the post. It's pretty lengthy if you care to know. But because of that accident, I destroyed my rear hatch and rear bumper. So now I got to come up with a replacement. So I could potentially build another bumper, which I very heavily weighed. I was thinking about doing 2x4, 2x6 bumper again, kind of like the one I had on here before. However, I'm lazy and I feel like trying something different. So I went out and got a knockoff DIY rear bumper kit. Now I'm told that these are very similar to the JCR off-road ones, and they even tell you use those instructions. So in an effort to kind of save money and do something quick, that's what I did. So I've seen a few pictures of this bumper finished. I'm not sure if it's the JCR or this knockoff one. I'm told they're one and the same. However, I'm going to be modifying these. These are the corner caps because I do not have much, we'll call it rear quarter panel down here. And my other story with this is this, I think, legit only bolts on with the four per side factory bolt holes, and that's not going to do. So what I'm going to do is recreate the brackets that I made on my last bumper and weld those onto these as well as kind of extra insurance, because if you've ever taken this bumper off, you know that these are not good. These are for light impacts at best. They're not for pulling. They're not for heavy impacts, things like that. So I want this thing to be rock solid. So I'm going to go ahead, build my insert brackets like I did my last one, weld them to these plates so I can put my spin on it. So I'm not going to document this step by step. It's pretty well documented on the JCR website. So if I come across anything good, I'll clue you in. So let's get started. So the new bumper piece is pretty much roughed in, bent where they're going to be. I want to focus on my add-on to this bumper, which is going to be some beefier unibody hitch location brackets. Now this is the new bumper bracket. I'm not thrilled with this because it literally only bolts into the factory locations, which is more or less double-sided, double-thick sheet metal, and that's it. What I did on my last bumper was I made these. If you can see, this part goes in the unibody, bolts into the hitch locations in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations, as well as mounting in the factory bumper locations. This is the old bumper. Took quite a hit. It did the job. I probably hit that tree at about 40 miles an hour going downhill. But I want to replicate these brackets. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of cardboard and basically trace it out, because these worked great for me. Alright, so I got the unibody tie-ins all done. As you can see, I got a channel cut out here, and then I re-welded it in. If you look on the passenger side, it's kind of hard to see down there, but about 9 inches in, there's a kind of like we'll call it a buckle of metal or something that goes through here. But I just channeled that out, and now it locks in nice in place. Got the other side done. I'm going to mock up the bumper. I've tacked in the mount, the D-shackle nub, whatever you want to call it. Life of me, I forgot what the heck it is. It's probably because it's hot. I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to get it on the Jeep, just eyeball it. If it's good, I'm then going to tack in these brackets onto these, because I don't want to build the whole bumper and have a whole bunch of stuff in my way and then have to weld these onto these. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. Normally you're supposed to build the whole bumper, but since I'm adding bracketry, I'm going to mock up just the main section of the bumper so I can make sure the fitment is good, and then attach it to these brackets here. Alright, so now I got the bumper out. I got to go back in and start welding this. I'm going to do a little bit at a time so these don't warp. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how they came out. I still got to go back and clean them all up, but this is fabrication part now. So let's weld these things up. So just a quick catch up. I've got the support brackets for the most part welded up. There's a few more pieces I have to go. I was going real slow because I don't want to warp the brackets, because once you warp them, it doesn't bolt up very well. I've tacked on the outer wings, tacked up a few key places of the main bumper, and now I'm going to do the end caps and underneath the taillights. Alright, so for the most part, the bumper is assembled to how I want it to look, minus the D-shackle toe point. I'm going to weld this in after. That one survived. The tacks here did not. No big deal. I'll go back in, put this in, and weld it in nice and thick. But for the most part now, the bumper can come off, and really I'm just doing aesthetic welding. Don't want to go crazy overheating it. I'm going to do little bits and pieces and jump around so I don't overheat the metal. I do have a couple more mounting bracket welds I have to do just to shore everything up. But for the most part, it's really just going to be welding this thing up. So for the most part, I got one more section to do for the actual outer part. I'm going to fill in my hitch receiver, and then when I'm done cleaning up all the grinding, I'll go back and I'm going to do the D-shackles. So that's where I'm at now. So I'm going to try something. Got myself a little piece of copper pipe that I spooned out. I'm going to use this to back my little hitch receiver here and fill it in. So let's see if this works. So what I'll do is grind it down, get rid of these high spots obviously, and I might have to do a second round to get it nice and flat. But let me grind it down and see what I end up with. I definitely could have been a little bit better, but overall, not bad. So now I'm going to go through, do the nasty, and just clean all this crap up. So it's been a few days. I'm not exactly sure where I left off, but basically the bumper is for the most part fully welded, we'll call it. I got to go back and clean up some of the less than desirable parts. I got a little porosity here and there, so I might grind that down and kind of clean that up. Just going to smooth it out. The toe points are burned in. I think there's one more bead I have to do on the inside, and I'll feel kosher about it. However, I am going to be going to Rausch in the next couple days. I'm not going to have a lot of time to really work on this. So what I really need to focus on is getting the hitch mounting brackets all drilled and burned in. normal circumstances, I'd go back, flap disc the bumper, clean it up, fix any low or high spots, go back, prime it, then bedline it, and call it a day. However, I've got a trip to Rausch in 2 days. I won't be able to work on the Jeep tomorrow, and I basically have to pack all day Thursday. So I'm going to go ahead, bolt the sucker up. It's going to be raw steel. It is what it is. I'll just have to flap disc it, clean it up, and then bedline it when I get back. So here's the finished bumper in all its dirty glory. This is after 2 trips, the Rausch trip and the trip up to Butcher's Block in Massachusetts. I did go ahead and coat the bumper in a bed liner. Yes, I know I have some porous welds here and there. I won't shy away from the fact that I did rush putting this together. So one thing I am going to get around to doing is I'm going to cut this curve to match the comp cut a little bit better. It does jet in a little bit, but not enough to the point where it contacts the tire. However, I would like a little bit more clearance just to be on the safe side. So one thing that I did like about this bumper over my last bumper, which is why I originally went with this, was that it stuck out a little bit more than my 2x6 bumper. I wanted to avoid hitting the hatch, backing into trees, or, if I'm up on an incline and I'm slide backwards, I want the bumper to hit, not my hatch. However, that happened on my last trip out. I will be covering a fix for this in the near future, probably the next, hopefully, month, once I get the material. Now, would I recommend this bumper? That's kind of hard to say. Would I do this again? Probably not. I can say that this kit is most likely for somebody who is looking to do some welding, get a little bit better welding, and doesn't want to spend a lot of money on a bumper, and doesn't mind doing the work. Now, for me, the reason I went with this kit is that it was cheap, it was quick, and I didn't have to fabricate anything. I literally just put it together, buzzed it together, and called it a day. Now, if I had to choose between this bumper and my last bumper, I would most likely go back to my other bumper for rigidity and structural integrity. This one looks a little bit better. It's probably not nearly as heavy duty as my last one, but it will do the job. So that's it for this video. We'll catch you on the next one.